This is the Balancing Act by Security Compass, your guide to going fast while staying safe in today's digital world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome today to our podcast. Our guest speaker is Ayhan. Ayhan, welcome.
Hi, Altas. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate that. So, Ayhan, today what I'd like us to do is talk about threat modeling. And the minute we talk about threat modeling, many times the focus is on producing artifacts around data flow diagrams that are specific to the context that we're dealing with. And we tend to produce these things uniquely each time. So can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of threat modeling and the challenges of our traditional way of doing threat modeling compared to the rapid delivery cycles that we're facing today?
Of course. Altas, when you look at the threat modeling, right, the purpose of the threat modeling is to identify the threats and then think about how to mitigate them, right? You try to identify the design and architecture weak spots so that the threat actors can exploit by using, the various techniques and tactics. You need to sort of mend them, right? And if you just correct these weak spots or flaws earlier, then you're not only reducing the attack surface of whatever you are building, but also you are just reducing the long-term cost of building and maintaining that system, right? We know that building a software or system requires a collective effort from many, many stakeholders. You have your business people, you have architects, designers, developers, testers, then comes to the security, privacy, risk teams, and operational and support teams are there as well, and many, many more. Right, so it's a team effort. So if you are giving the threat modeling task to only one group, such as your either security teams or architecture group, then your threat modeling activities will not be scalable. Right. Plus, it will not produce the desired outcome because there's only one group that is just heading this, trying to structure this. By confining threat modeling to only one group, so you are missing a golden opportunity to build your security-aware culture over there, right? The security culture is extremely important. You are not promoting security understanding across your whole team, and you are not making security everyone's responsibility. And also, you are not leveraging their skill set as well, because those individuals, those groups, just to have some very, very valuable skill set, you are not using that. An opportunity lost over there. Right. This is one of the big mistakes that the organizations are doing, not involving everyone over there. Right. Mm-hmm. But and the excuse, there's always an excuse. I hear you saying, "Hold on, we are short on personnel, and our people are busy. It is impossible to bring all these stakeholders together and perform a threat modeling." Well, impossible only means that you haven't found the solution yet. Right. Once upon a time, people thought it was impossible to go to the moon or other planets, but it is possible now, right? So, if you don't mind, let's discuss how we can turn this mission impossible threat modeling into a practical activity, which is scalable, and you can integrate this into the organization's fabric as well, right?
Wonderful. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And everything starts with people, Altas, right? If you look at the threat modeling, the outcomes of the threat modeling should be meaningful, and it should provide value to stakeholders. One typical sign of a low-value outcome of a threat modeling, Altas, is that it does not influence any decision further down the line of the process, right? Whether it's just the DevOps that you are kind of following, or the Agile, or the waterfall. So, if nothing ever is changed in the design, or if you are not creating any new test cases, or if you are not adding any controls, so what are you gaining then in this case from the threat modeling? So, you need to first identify how threat modeling outcomes will help stakeholders to do their jobs better. For example, can we use the threat modeling to drive security requirements for our business analysts? Can we involve them into the kind of security, the posture enhancement? Or can we create abuse cases for design activities and just to, work with our designers and architects to build them, right? To build the controls to prevent those things. Or can we use the threat modeling outcome so that we can provide the guidance to developers so that we are not going to actually get these 10,000 issues when we do a static or dynamic application security testing over there? Because we are not addressing the kind of the root cause, of course we are going to get those kind of just sort of vulnerabilities over there. Can we just sort of help them use this information to securely code? Or can we help create teams to perform the security testing, right? If we are creating the abuse cases and we can translate this one to the negative test cases over there, right? So that we can involve our friends into the security testing. Or can we use the threat modeling to enable our risk management teams with the threat information so that they can make more informed decisions, right, from the risk analysis perspective? Or can we use the threat modeling to inform the governance and the audit teams on which controls should be verified and which metrics should be collected as well, right? So most of the organizations are not doing this. They are not just identifying their stakeholders. They are not leveraging their skill sets from people perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And then comes the process, right? Even if you bring those different stakeholders to the same table, they speak different languages. So you need to find a way to open the communication doors between those stakeholders, right? You have to, and how do you do that? The only feasible way of doing this, you have to provide them a platform where each stakeholder transparently makes contributions from the threat modeling perspective. Because the best use of the threat modeling is to improve the security and privacy of a system, right? Through the early and also the frequent analysis. And another mistake that I see, threat modeling is not a one and done activity. If you only do threat modeling once, you will just have an expensive piece of documentation and nothing else, right? And because most of the value comes from changing the model and evolving it together when your system changes, right? So, and also if you are doing the frequent analysis, it is going to allow you to tackle small chunks without becoming overwhelmed, right? It also helps you to keep the work in a time-limited fashion, which is, of course, essential, very important for fitting into the modern software development practices like the Agile. Otherwise, if your threat modeling is taking, 3 or 4 weeks, where just your DevOps teams are going to the production in 3 or 4 minutes, of course, it's not going to be scalable over there, right? But basically, if the organizations are performing threat modeling activities from the inception of the SDLC and they continue throughout the life cycle, they are on the right track. However, if they are doing this one at the very beginning with a very limited information, with a very limited resources, then it's not going to be scalable, and it's not going to be very, very helpful, right? So my suggestion, rather than creating and maintaining an exhaustive threat model document over there, do the threat modeling little and often, right? And also involve everyone, right? Again, the trick here, you need to find a platform so that all the stakeholders can come to that platform and easily and transparently can contribute to the threat modeling, right? This is one of the areas most organizations give up because they say, hey, these people do not talk to each other. But trust me, there is a way of bringing different stakeholders into the same table and giving them the same language that they can use, and they can, perform the threat modeling. And then comes, because we are talking about the scaling in the DevOps or Agile environments, right? Then you have to somehow automate some of the things, the threat modeling activities, right? Because Altaz, you know that manual threat modeling requires extensive time, and you need extensive resources because you're going to map the data flow and build the attack trees over there, right? these are just taking, the days or weeks. And if it is taking days or weeks, it's not going to be kind of so practical for most of the organizations, right? So what you need to do is you have to carefully identify automation opportunities. And of course, you have to implement them so that it's going to help to make your threat modeling a timely activity, right? It's not going to be a bottleneck over there, right? What can they do from the automation perspective? Many things. For example, many organizations already subscribe to the threat intel feeds, right? And they are getting somehow the automated vulnerability notifications, right? They can just feed this into their threat modeling, right? Which is going to be a living document, by the way. It's not just one and done, right? And this is going to improve the threat and vulnerability visibility to their assets and directly contribute to the quality of work that they are doing from the threat modeling activities, right? I don't know, maybe that they can create the threat and defect repository. Again, with this automation, they can get these, threats and threat actors, and they can feed this one into their centralized threat library, right? So that they can just keep an up-to-date database of threats and vulnerabilities, and whenever there's the piece of work that they're going to use, that they can leverage this information over there, right? Mm-hmm. And also that they can make this a bit continuous as well, right? As I mentioned, the threat models are living documents, and they are subject to revisions because when you currently develop your software, more information is going to become available to you. So the threat model might need to be updated based on this new information that you are getting. And not only your system is evolving, but also new cybersecurity threats that the attackers employ, or new variants or new types of attacks are kind of just emerging. You need to take this into consideration as well. That's why you need to kind of make this continuous modeling, right? These are just the challenges that I see. But again, they can all be managed by working together, employing the automation, just the opening to the communication doors between these various stakeholders are the key elements to make the threat modeling scalable.
Wonderful. Ayhan, thank you very much. There's a lot of insight that you've provided in such a short period of time. Everything from involving multiple stakeholders to speaking their language. Many times we try to speak only one language, like a data flow perspective, but there are other perspectives, risk and compliance and other areas that you had brought up as well. And codifying this in some shareable platform that enables others to make informed decisions, for example, on the risk perspective, what might be the expense against a given asset, for example, based on criticality. Ayhan, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Likewise. Take care, Altas. Bye.
Want to learn about what Security Compass has to offer? Check out securitycompass.com/demo for a free demo today. Want more of the balancing act? Be sure to subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to podcasts for more episodes.